Welcome back to First Year in Medical Device Sales. I am your host, Jacob McLaughlin, and we are coming to you today after spending the week in San Diego. Absolutely beautiful being out in San Diego. And if you guys watched my LinkedIn, you'll actually see that it's a super special moment for me because the last time I was in San Diego, it was me being a part of Innovis. I had done multiple demos, I was doing meetings, and then I also worked a whole week conference where we actually had to build the whole stand and break it down while working it. So it was a lot there to be. Now I'm out there because I'm building our team and new to medical device sales. We did training with our team, which is a super just special moment for me, but also because I was meeting with CEOs of med device companies, which is where this podcast comes today, and why I want to provide you guys as much value as I can. Is because I got the opportunity to meet with a CEO of a large med device company, talk with them, and actually learn what they're looking for in their reps and some of the relationships we've been able to create. And it was just really cool. So all that to say, super thankful to be back in Arizona, but it was a great time being back in San Diego. You actually will be able to watch the vlog that we did. If you guys haven't, you can see that we have vlogs on our YouTubes of a day in the life of a med device rep, which then when I became a manager turned into a day in the life of a regional manager. Then that turned into now we're helping people break into med device sales. We're also helping reps that are already in the industry get hired at much higher salaries. So you can also now go see us doing day in the life of helping people break into medical device sales. And so I just want you guys to know it's what we do every day. Actually just got one of our guys, Luis. He will be on the New to Medical Device Sales podcast. Just got him hired with no experience before this. Hired at $170K as a full line rep with Abbott. So super cool, no experience before that. And you can see that journey. So if you guys want to see like what we do behind the scenes, you can go watch that on our New to Medical Device Sales YouTube. But I just want you guys to see that, again, we're just building this journey. Hopefully it's been fun because you can go back and see when I was a personal trainer to where we're at today, to crushing it in the industry, helping others crush it in the industry, to now building a team that we're able to help more and more people crush it in the industry. And so I just wanted to be able to speak to that. One thing I do want to say is I, had a podcast, or actually had a post go viral last week because one of our girls, Delaney, we got her hired in 3 weeks at over $125,000. She had no previous sales experience and she was 23 years old. I posted that you can break into the industry at more than 125K or at more than six figures when first breaking in. And then it was all the ortho reps that you guys will all listen to and you're all probably smiling because most of you guys are still in the industry. I had a lot of people that were like VPs of companies that were like, that's dangerous. This will make people not get in the industry. And why they're saying that is because on the post I said, hey, you don't have to come in and only make 50, 60K and work 60, 70 hours a week. You can come in and make six figures right away because we do it every day. That post went viral. And there was a bunch of people from the ortho world saying, this is impossible. And real quick, before I go into today's podcast, I want to just explain why they do this. Is because I also got the opportunity last week to get on a phone call with somebody here actually in Arizona that has been in ortho for 3 years. So again, not brand new. They've been in ortho for 3 years. And the most money they've ever made is $80,000. And this year they're on track to do $65,000. So I want you guys to hear me when I say that, because why they get so offended, why people will get mad on our LinkedIn post, be like, you can't do that. You can't make 125 grand out of college. It's crazy. It's fake. It's all that. Because think about that person who I just talked to. They've been grinding, working 60, 70 plus hours, running trays, getting treated like crap, and not knowing what else is out there to make 80K. And now we just got somebody hired with no experience, 3 weeks trying. And guess what? In 3 weeks, they're now making over $145,000 in that person's best year out of 3 years. Why these VPs of these big med device companies who are in the ortho space that are hiring people at 50, 60K, why do they come and say that? And say, oh, this could be dangerous, or hey, people won't get hired at this, or you could be having people not get a job because of you saying this. First off, we never said it's the average, and we never said everyone should look at that. This is only for people who are actually coming prepared and know what they're doing. If you want to just be like, you don't know what you're doing, you're going to send out 100 messages and be blind like a sheep, and we talk about it all the time, go do that and go come in at 50K and work 70 hours a week and then not know what to do. But if you actually know what to do and you come in, you can come in over six figures right away. And then why these people say it at the VP level and the directors and all this stuff is, guess who they're hiring? You. So what did I just expose? That they're scamming you all to come in and make 50, 60K, make no money, while they make millions off you all. And then you guys are going to work all the time to then what? After 3 years, make 80K. We almost don't ever have anybody with no experience come in at under 80K. But if you don't know that, you can see where it goes. So I just want to explain that one. If you watch, you can watch the journey on LinkedIn. You can see what we do on YouTube. We document everything, right? And again, the last thing I just want to say that Every week I have all these ortho and these people saying, this is impossible. It's fake. It's not real. But every week, all we do is show physical proof, have the people come on the podcast, talk about their experience, share the screenshots on LinkedIn, which triggers everybody because we're showing the proof. And so every week they tell us it's fake, but only we show proof every time. Funny how that is, because I don't know how we keep saying it's fake when we've only done it for the last several years of showing it's actually real, and then having the real people come in, and then you can look at those people, and then you can go exactly to where they're working and you can see what we're talking about. So I digress in that spot. But going into what I wanted to talk to you all about today is I got the opportunity to go talk to a CEO of a med device company. And we had a great conversation. The first thing I just want to say of speaking with someone in med device sales who's a CEO is just how honored I was to be in that conversation, to really realize that, hey, I'm under the age of 30. I'm now getting to meet with CEOs of med device companies that are running hundreds of millions of dollars of organizations, and they're hiring, firing. They're doing all the big meetings, like that morning meeting with FDA to get new products approved and put out. And I just feel super humbled to be in that spot, to be able to go have those conversations. So that's the first thing I want to say. But after that is just how cool it was to be able to have that pinch me moment of like 5 years I was a personal trainer to now I'm talking peer to peer, because we're actually, why we're meeting is how we can help them and stuff that we're doing on the back end. And there's some cool things happening here at Newton Medical Device Sales is all I can say. But the reason I'm just telling you guys this is the conversation we had for lunch, which was about 30 minutes, talking about hiring people. And this is somebody that is hiring reps that are over the $200,000 mark. So just so you all know who are listening to this, if you're in the industry and they say, it's impossible to make $200K. The CEO is literally starting reps out with over a 6-figure base, and their app plan is over $200K starting out. And they get put on a guarantee for the first several months. So the reason I'm just sitting here telling you, if you hear that it's not true, it is true. You can do it. But going off that is the conversation we had was they have the hardest time hiring reps. And why is that? And this is what we got to talk about, because most people lie. Most people don't actually do what they say they have done, and most people don't say what they actually are going to do. He's told me the horror stories of they've hired people, they've had to fire them within a week, a month, 2 months, because they said all of these things. They said they had all this experience. They said they had all these relationships. They said they were the hustler, that they would travel, that they would go make it, that they were hungry, that they would go hunt. And then they get them in and they're sitting in their house and they're not going out, and they've left their house after 2 days, or they go out 2 days a week to go do some messages, right? And that is like the tip of the iceberg I need everybody to hear for everyone, is that's not just med device sales, that's just life. I can tell you now with hiring employees, like we hire fast and fire fast, because I can just tell you most people just lie about everything. And what do I mean by that? They all say they're going to do stuff, and you guys all say, hey, this is my resume. Hence why I always tell people, even with med device sales, you know why we don't care about your resume? Is because most of y'all are just pumping up the numbers on the resume anyway. And then you can't actually show, because like I had a conversation with him. If you're hired at, let's just say a company like Intuitive or Medtronic, guess what normally was already going to happen? They were probably already going to buy the product because the brand already has the name, not just so much the rep. Right now, I'm not taking that away from the reps. The reps do make the difference. I was there at Medtronic, and I was the lowest performing. It was top 10. It wasn't because Medtronic's the name. It was me, right? But the reason I'm just saying majority of the time, it's not because, hey, you just did something this crazy. And the reason I'm also saying that is because most people can't carry that over into the next thing, because what everyone has told him, and he literally said this, he's like, all I'm looking for is somebody who is hungry, somebody who keeps their word, says what they're going to do and actually does it, and is a good person. That's it. But here's the big thing. They still, when they're offering at over 200K, guess what they do also need? Med device sales experience. Right? But then this is the problem, and this is the conversation we had for our lunch. What I've seen a lot of people do, and this is why my whole channel exists, why I've had the success I've had, is because everyone always tells me, Jacob, you don't have 10, 15, 20 plus years experience. Now, here's what I've learned with a lot of reps that have 10, 15, 20 plus years experience. Number one, let's make sure that we all know that they're extremely knowledgeable, that they've had a lot of experience, and that they do a lot of great things to be in the industry that long. But on the caveat, I've seen a lot of people who have 10, 15, 20 plus years experience have bad attitudes of, I'm not going to hustle anymore. I'm not hungry. Because guess why? They've already made 200 grand, 300 grand, 400 grand. So they now have a lifestyle that they're just trying to go with. And this was the talk I had, because, right, you put me in, I still act like I'm hungry every single day. You put the kid who's made 50K a year, had the chance to go make 200 grand, they're going to hustle and run. But you give the person who's already made 200 grand a year and now it's like that's the lifestyle they live. They have the car they want. They have the house they want. They're just trying to be home so they can see little Johnny's practice by 4 and do all the stuff. That's what people get in trouble because, again, let me make this really clear. If that's you and that's where you're at in the space, that's awesome. That's where you're going to be at a company that fits that. But why we were talking about is they're a large med device company, but they're still scaling up. Well, when you're doing a scale up, guess who you need? Hustlers. And like, that's what we talked about is so many people talk a big game, but they just don't back it up. And that was the one conversation we had is like, one reason I went to Innovis was because I was one of 3 human beings that were first hired in the United States. AKA, if we do not perform, the company goes under in the USA. We are the only 3 people that can bring money into the company from the States. And I had the whole West Coast. I had a teammate who had the middle, and we had someone on the East Coast. The reason I'm saying that is I liked the pressure and being like, guess what? I'm already going to hustle. Now, I even told my CEO, Elliot's an absolute genius, and he is the man for the fact of, I said, Elliot, I don't want you to pay me because I don't want to get paid for stuff I haven't actually produced. I don't want to get commissions and I don't want to get a base if I'm not making you money because I feel bad taking money that I'm not producing for the company. I'll never forget his conversation with me. And he said, hey, man, I appreciate that so much, but it's a longer sales cycle than a month. And we need to make sure you guys are taken care of so you're not worried about paying your bills. And we know that you're going to go put in the hustle and do it, that you'll pay it all back, right? And that's what I want you guys to all think about. All you guys are as reps in med device sales, even managers, everybody, we're just return on investments. They'll pay you 200 grand because they expect you to make them 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, right? Let's just talk quotas. Your quota is $1 million, right? Or your quota is 1.5 million. Your at plan's 150. They just 10x'd it, right? Some might go lower. Hey, you make 200 and your quota is $1 million. Okay, so now they're making 5x on you, right? Whatever it is, but it's always return on investment. But the reason I'm just saying that is most people that we're getting on calls with is they're not hustlers. Like the CEO I talked to, he's like, you want to know, Jacob, who I found was the best? The person who came from trauma ortho. The person who came from working all the time, who hustled and was making 50, 60K, which we just talked about at the beginning because they got in that mindset and that's what was their opportunity. But then he's like, but we have the opportunity to have them work way less and make 200 plus and have a lot more freedom. You just got to hustle. You got to say what you got to do. You got to do what you say you're going to do because so many people say, I'm going to hustle. I'm going to bring in. I say this to everybody and I say it in all of my final interviews when I was in med device sales. I'm in sales. I can tell you whatever you want to hear. I can sit here and tell you to your face, I'm going to make you $1 million. But guess what? Talk is cheap. Hopefully I've gone through this whole interview process and shown you that I'm the right person for the position because I've kept my word and I've just showed you what I've said I'm going to do. Because me talking doesn't do anything for you. And that's the big thing I see, not just in med device sales, just in general. I was just telling my videographer right before this, is like, going out to California, it's like everybody says they're going to do something and nobody does that. Everybody talks a big game. You know what? Like even right now, we're working with a lot of salespeople. You know what? Everyone comes in and tells me they are elite. And you know what happens when they come in and they work with us? They ain't even close to elite. They can't work an 8-hour day. They get too emotional. They don't even go work out. They don't even work on themselves. They can't even show up for other people, but yet they're elite. You can't even sit through 5 hours of sales calls and do your stuff, but you're elite? Get the hell out of here. Get that word elite out of here because people using that word saying elite and all this stuff, get that crap out of here because that's just something for your ego to tell you why you're better than you actually are. You want to know what actually gets results? Doing it. The amount of hour, and I say this on our old podcast, you can watch the days of me doing it. The amount of 14, 16-hour days that I had to do while running a business, working another business, and being a top performer in med device sales, happened all the time. And so many people ask me, Jacob, how do you do it? Jacob, what is it? And I always said the same answer. You just do it. I have a 16-hour day. You know what I just do? The 16-hour day. You know what I take? The emotion out of it. Because guess what? You can feel bad. You can say, it's a lot. Oh my gosh, I need this. Nobody cares. You want to know why? Because I signed up for it. At any moment, I could make less money. I could do less because it's me putting myself in that spot. I don't have to run the extra businesses while I'm in med device sales. I don't have to do med device sales. I can go there. There's all the points. You can see that. But what most people do in med device sales is 200 grand. I'm a hustler. I'm going to be there. And they're the same people I find out are taking a nap at 3 p.m. on a Tuesday. this is just like the real hard gut checks, because I have yet to meet a hungry individual that does what they say they're going to do, is a nice person, and then just works hard, that is not successful. Yet to see it. But yet, everyone in my DMs and everyone on here is like, I'm a hard worker, can't send a DM back. I'm a hard worker, can't do an email. I'm a hard worker, I'm not doing a 7 a.m. in service to my accounts. Like, that's the best thing I can just tell you, is that was what we laughed about. I'm with the CEO of hundreds of millions of dollars in sales in their company, and all we could laugh about is because most people do boneheaded stuff if they don't think things through, not critical thinking, and they just don't do what they say. Like, let me just put this out there for you guys as well. Somebody who's been inside the industry, who says they're top dog, aka talk, not showing it, says that they're going to crush it. So they end up saying, the CEO's like, hey, I'm going to get you an offer letter. But that person actually went and quit their job before they received the offer in their email. Know what that CEO tells me? He says, what a boneheaded move, which shows me you don't think things through because you have a wife and a kid. And now you just quit your job without anything written in paper or contracts that aren't signed. It makes me question everything I want to do, because it shows me you don't think things through. And if you're such the high performer that you told me you are, that they love you, the fact that you quit, you could go get your job back right now. Because if you did it the right way, you probably left. But let's just talk, we talked it through. That guy wasn't a top performer. Because why was he looking to leave so fast, but want to have the opportunity to come back? Here's the thing. You can be a top performer and look to leave. But can you just, I always make this really clear. If you are the number one rep and you leave somewhere, you think for a second, if you at least left things on good terms, they're not like, oh, please come back, because you just were the top and you made them all the money. So that's where he's like, the story didn't add up, because he's now like, oh, I can't go back. He made a impulsive decision, which he quit his job without having anything in his inbox. Just got a verbal, but then he quit his job, which is showing what? He needed to prove something to somebody at that company and basically be like, F off, guys, I'm finally out. And things didn't add up. The last two people he talked to me that he hired, they had to fire. Why? We're hustlers. We do this. Guess what they didn't do? Hustle. They said, hey, we have relationships here. They're going to grow. They tracked them. Their sales, they put somebody in that had relationships in the exact same territory, in the exact same hospitals. And the product is a great product. All they saw were sales actually dropping. Let me make this clear. The sales were dropping from when there was no rep there. So without a rep, it was doing more revenue than the new rep they put in there. But yet that rep's a top performer who was amazing and can show it on the resume, right? So you can just sit here and see it. What I want you guys all to hear, you want to come and get offers for 200 plus, just do what you say you're going to do. Actually do the work. Stop telling them you're going to do the work and show it through the process. And then actually think like a logical human being to show that you're a top performer. Because again, you get an offer and then just like quitting your job on the spot and say, bam, that's not showing you're logical and you think things through. Because what happens when that's with a $500 to $1 million deal or more? Oh, somebody said this, so you just torpedo the whole deal? That's what these guys and these CEOs, that's how they think. And that was our talk. Because I'm now hiring employees, they hire people, and it's like the hardest thing to find in the world is finding people who are actually good human beings who, when they say they work hard, they actually work hard. Because I will just say this, I don't think normal human beings actually know what it means to work hard. They're like, put in a 3-hour day, I guess I did it. Right? We're all about working smart. Not working harder than you have to and all this stuff. I'm all about that. But guess what? When you're going to work 3 hours, it's all concentrated. You did it, and you got more done in that 3 hours than most people are getting done in 6, 7, 8 hours. But what everyone's doing is they're like doing it halfway, and they're like, oh, I'm working hard, but they're not really working hard, and they're all just lying to themselves. That's why I made this podcast. I just want people to stop lying to themselves. So let me just make everyone's life easy. If you're first year in your med device sales, just do what you say you're going to do. Be a hard worker, be a kind person, and then just be proactive. Do that. You'll change your freaking life. And also, to anybody who's like, I'm making 50, 60, 100K, 110K, and I want to make more money in med device sales, great. You want to know how? Come prepared. Do the job to get the job. Show that you're actually a top performer, that your last numbers, you're not just saying things. And then don't paint some picture that's not true. Because guess what? You're talking to salespeople. They're going to figure it out pretty dang quick. And even once they do hire you, guess what's going to happen? They're going to find it out within 2, 3, 4 months. That's what everyone misses, right? These med device sales companies are not afraid to fire you within 2, 3 months, because guess what? It's going back into all the entrepreneurs I meet and all these CEOs who usually used to be entrepreneurs and now it's this. You hire, but you fire fast because we can tell pretty quick if they've not told the truth or they're not going to be a good fit for the role. So instead of trying to train them up when they're not showing us that they can actually do it, let's just go get somebody that we can train up. So that's what I want everybody to hear. Because again, you guys, I just want you all to win. I want you all to have the best success in med device sales. And what that comes down to is extreme ownership on yourself and just doing it. But again, having these conversations with med device CEOs, it's the freaking best because you get to see how someone else thinks who's a high achiever and they're all the same. Because as some person who's going to complain about like, this is hard. And then you go talk to the CEO who's like, oh yeah, I handled this, right? It's even like with my own business, we talk about it. I have conversations with our employees and they're like, yeah. And if they give me any pushback of like, oh, this is tough. I'm like, hey, they're great. I know how tough it is because I did this while ran 2 other companies, while was a top performer in med device sales and did everything a part of the business. I know how tough it is. But then that's where I want you all to hear when you keep coming and saying, I'm the best, I'm elite, I'm all that stuff. You get in the rooms because I never feel like I'm that way. Because guess what? I think I'm doing good. And then I go meet the guy who's been in doing it longer and makes way more and has way more experience. It's always just being real to yourself and trying to get around people who are going to push you up, build you up, and actually hold you accountable to where you want to be. I hope this podcast was helpful. I hope you guys know I actually care about you and I want you guys to get what you want. And if you really are truly serious about breaking into med device sales or you're truly serious about getting where you want to be in life and go after the jobs and the careers and the salaries that you want, more than happy to get on a call with you. You can reach out to me at Jacob McLaughlin, new to medical device sales on LinkedIn, all the TikToks and Instagrams. You can go check out our YouTube, New to Medical Device Sales. And if you guys are really interested in breaking into med device sales, or if you guys are wanting to leave from an associate role where you're making under 60, 80, 100K, and you want to come in and be with these kind of roles, hence there's a reason we're having these talks with these med device companies, is because we know we can help you. So feel free to click the link below. You can always set up a time to talk with us. Or again, we'll reach out to our socials. And last thing I will say, after having that conversation with that CEO, if there are any ortho reps that are ortho trauma reps that are associates, or even ortho trauma reps that are looking to get a different lifestyle where you could work less and make more money, please feel free to reach out to me because again, we work with these great companies. They're looking for great people and we have the opportunity to also make connections and relationships. So really appreciate you guys listening. Hope this was extremely helpful. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.